Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and haunted entertainment industry. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And I actually said Haunt Weekly correctly on the first try. Sorry, there's a little bit of confusion around here lately.
Yeah.
We're doing both this podcast and renewing our haunt reviews at garbagehorror.com.
Right, the video ones. So, if you want to know what we look like, head over there.
If you want to put a face to the voice, you probably don't, but if you do, you're beautiful, darling. It's me. It's me that has cause to worry. But yes, if you wish to make the mistake of putting a face to the voice, you can do so at garbagehorror.com. Check out our reviews of the haunted attractions we attend in 2016 and what we think. Like I said, we pride ourselves on honest, unbiased, impartial views. Please send all bribes to Jonathan and Crystal care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's bribing me. Who am I kidding? No one's kidding me. So anyways, it is episode 44.
Yep.
If you made it through third grade,
Yes.
you know that amount is divisible by 4.
Yes.
Therefore, we're doing the news. Yay! It's a news week. No, not yay. It's a news week. This is a rough one.
This is a doozy, and I know you guys have been wanting to hear our opinion on it, and we've got some.
We got some opinions. We've actually set aside a fair amount of time. You know what's coming.
Yeah.
You know what the news is. So just look. Shut up, listen to your conference reminders, eat your veggies, and then we'll get to the main course, I promise.
Yeah, and we won't even make you wait till the end.
No, we won't. It will be the first news item, I promise.
All right, so conference reminders.
Conference reminders, your turn to kick it off, I believe.
All right, so November 11th through 12th, just after season ends, Legendary Haunt Tour. It is in Falmouth, Pittsburgh. It's put on the people at Transworld. Visiting Scare House in 100 Acres Manor. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
LegendaryHauntTour.com. And that's with two T's.
Yes, don't leave off any letters, people. I don't know where the other domain goes. Probably nowhere. But still, this is the internet. You have no idea.
I'm about to look it up.
And when her computer explodes from the viruses, I will let you know. But if you want to come visit and hang out with us in New Orleans, well, we're probably not.
It goes nowhere.
And we're probably not going to this conference, but it is the Halloween and Party Expo, January 14th through 17th at the Convention Center here in New Orleans, Louisiana. There'll be some 350 vendors in attendance, but it requires a business verification to attend. So you'll have to go to the website, HalloweenPartyExpo.com. Should be pretty clear how you spell all that.
Right.
And go through an application process, which admittedly is not the most rigorous in the universe.
Right.
So feel free to go do that. And if you're going to it and care to meet or have some kind of get together,
Yeah.
let us know. Drop us a message. We are at Twitter at Haunt Weekly and on Facebook at Haunt Weekly. Send us a message, direct message, private message, all the messages at either location. We will get it and we will do stuff with it.
Yeah.
I cannot guarantee productive things, but we will do things with it.
That's very true.
Anyways.
Yeah. All right, next we have Corn Party. Yay, party.
Yeah, you gotta be careful saying that one.
Yes, I
Wanna
know.
go to the corn party?
But January 17th through 20th. It's in Hawaii, multiple locations.
Yes, the two largest islands, if I remember correctly.
For operators of corn mazes, and it's themaze, MAIZE.com.
Yes, that's a very interesting. Do they grow corn in Hawaii? Did we research that one last time?
You ask that every time.
And we never look it up.
No, because we get to talking and then we forget to look it up because we're too busy with other things.
We got haunt stuff to think, but we can't be thinking about corn in Hawaii.
No, we have haunt brain right now.
Yes, we do. It's that time of year.
It's like really big.
Speaking of haunt brain, HauntCon is January 26th through 30th in Nashville, Tennessee at the Sheraton Nashville Airport Hotel. There's going to be tours of Haunted Hell Nashville, Nashville Nightmare, and the Slaughterhouse over the course of the tour for nights and times and tickets and blah, 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 all that fun stuff. It is hauntcon.com. That's HAUNTCON.com.
Yes, and I believe their early bird specials are going on now.
Currently, yes. They're not like Trans Worlds, though. They do end.
Yes. So jump on those now if you plan on going. All right. Also, speaking of Trans World, their Halloween and attraction show is March 23rd through 26th in St. Louis, Missouri. It's at the America Center. Early bird discount of $50 off or through March. And it's HAASHOW.com.
The Ha
Show.
Yeah, we got to work on our domains in this industry. I'm just throwing that one out. And finally, for our conference reminders right now, all the way deep into the fast forward of June 8th through 11th, 2017, in Columbus, Ohio, at the Greater Columbus Center, it is the Midwest Haunters Conventions. There will be haunt tours. We don't know which ones. They haven't been announced yet. TBA on that. But if you want to really have some fun with the domain, MidwestHauntersConvention.com is your domain. And I'm sitting there like burying my face in my laptop, making sure I say that right. So if I'm hearing an echo, that's what's going on.
Yes, there's not a video this time, so people can't see you doing that. You have to describe it. Very good.
Yes, I know. Pantomime.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, as we said before, this is a news week, and not long before we started compiling show notes, some pretty big news went down. And it's kind of a rare moment where our lovely little industry made international news. Like, seriously, articles are like in Australian press about this.
Right.
I find that kind of mind-blowing.
It is.
Because usually when I do the show notes for the news, right?
Right.
I go through and it's like, KNYX in some city is talking about this attraction or something like that. It's usually very, very local news, and we're compiling it.
Right.
It's not often we have something like this. But the long and short of it is that Knott's Berry Farm, a very, very not scary farm this time of year.
Yes.
Get it right,
very
Jonathan.
Important.
Get it right. This time of year it is not a scary farm. But they canceled an attraction that they were launching this year called FearVR 5150.
Right.
And it was a virtual reality attraction, which this is something that like all in the news here this week about all these VR attractions. I could have probably filled this entire podcast up with nothing but VR and haunting news.
Yeah, it seems to be the new latest and greatest thing.
Soon enough, we're not even going to have haunted attractions. It's going to be escape rooms and VR. That's all we're doing.
God, I hope not.
I hope not, too. I would really be sad about that. But anyways, we are linking to an article by Catherine Ham at the LA Times. The long and short of it is mental health advocates expressed concern over the attraction, and at first they tried to rename it.
Right. Well, and from what I understand, the mental health advocates just wanted them to drop the code of 5150 off of the name, because that is the actual police code for someone who is suffering from a mental illness.
Right.
Or maybe danger to them or others.
Or it's a state penal code, actually, for California.
Right.
For dealing with it.
And so they did that.
They did that.
And those advocates seemed appeased.
But the issue kept going.
Right.
The issue was carried on by others, it seems. And it's kind of hard to tell, honestly. We may be misreading this a little bit. Because, A, we're here in New Orleans. This all took place in California. I don't know Peter from Paul and all this.
Right.
And so that's problem one. And problem two is it happened really bloody quick.
It did.
This thing went from 0 to 1 million in like no time. So if we're getting our timeline a little borked here, that's why. But no, the initial complaints were raised by mental health advocates, including Ron Thomas, whose son, Kelly, died after a beating from Fullerton police. He suffered from schizophrenia.
Right.
And so, obviously, this is a very deep personal tragedy for him, and mental health issues are obviously a very deep personal issue for him.
Right. And according to the article, he was at Knott's Very Scary Farm.
Yeah.
The line was pretty much sold out or very full so that he couldn't go to the VR experience.
Yeah.
But he was asking people coming out what the experience was like.
Yeah.
So he was a customer at the attraction, which was a question that had been posed.
Yeah. It does sound like he was there. And like I said, originally they renamed it just to FearVR, which is kind of just now a generic name.
Yeah.
But it's like we were talking about this because we've had a couple of car rides lately.
Yeah.
Maybe a few.
Maybe go to haunted houses or something.
But, one of the things we talked about was, if you told me you had an attraction called FearVR 5150,
yeah,
like just me right now, like me before all this happened, I wouldn't have known what that number meant.
No.
I'd have had no clue.
No.
I mean, it means absolutely nothing to me. It's like there's this haunt somewhere, I don't remember what it is, it's like, Warehouse 1338 or something.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I'm sitting there adding the numbers. No, it's 14. It's not 13. I'm trying to figure out what it means.
Right.
I would not have known without Google, the power of Google on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, they changed the name to FearVR. That didn't quell the controversy. And basically, they were accused of, and this is from in a letter from the LA Times from Julian Robinson Shimizu, I don't know how to say that name, said the attraction...
That's okay, we know.
If you haven't picked up yet, I suck at pronouncing names.
Shimizu sounds good to me.
But anyways, she claimed that the attraction was presenting illness as entertainment.
Right.
And like I said, the attraction was discontinued. Knott's offered a letter saying, quote unquote, I'll just read the quote here, the attraction was never intended to portray mental illness, as it is impossible to address both the concerns and misconceptions in the Halloween time frame. At this time, we have decided to close the attraction.
Right.
And my understanding, and admittedly, we never been to it because A, New Orleans, B, apparently they were pretty busy.
Right.
My understanding, though, was it focused on a possessed mental patient.
Correct.
Not an actual case of mental illness.
Right.
It used a mental hospital as a setting, but did not actually focus on mental illness as a theme.
Yeah. If anyone actually got to experience the virtual reality before it was shut down, please contact us, because we really want to know what it was like in there.
Yeah, we really are curious, and we are speaking, like I said, from the hip here a little bit on this, but it's fascinating to me because, and this was something we were discussing previously, was that asylums are up there with chainsaws and creepy clowns and drop panels and haunt trope territory.
Right.
I mean, you ask me to name a haunt we've been to in the past few years that did not do something with a mental illness or asylum theme. Yeah. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
I'm literally drawing a blank.
Yeah. They are everywhere.
They're ubiquitous. And and Rise, one of the attractions we went to here in Tickfall, they're adding a whole new attraction called just the Asylum.
Right.
And I have to wonder if maybe they were having very unfortuitous timing with that.
Oh, yeah. Possibly.
But okay.
Anyway.
The question that been on everyone's mind, industry-wide, is what do we think, or what do you think, and this is not just us, it's to everyone has been asking this question, everyone else, what do you think about their decision to capitulate and close the attraction?
Right.
And I'm going to say this right off the bat, before I get into any personal feelings I have, I completely support Knott's Berry Farm in making the decision that was right for them.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, and because, I mean, the bottom line on that is, it is their business. They know their customers. If it was causing so much controversy that it could lose them money, then it was the right decision for that time for them.
Yes.
The bigger question
is whether it's right for the industry.
Right, is whether it's right for the industry, and I think that's the discussion that this has all started.
And I'm kind of glad it started it. And I would like to add, before we move on to that Knott's Berry Farm is only Knott's Scary Farm for like a month and a half out of the year.
Right.
The other 10 and a half months, it is open as a kid-friendly haunted attraction.
Yeah.
They are a little less resilient to controversy than a lot of haunts.
Right. And I mean, and that's just it. They are looked at as a family attraction. And when you're a family attraction, you don't want protesters and a lot of controversy.
And you don't want a reputation for being offensive, especially.
Right.
You can't have that. So I do think they made the right decision for them. But once again, as we said, it comes back to, was it the right decision for the industry? And that question is way, way thornier.
Yeah. In fact, we've been going back and forth on that issue.
Yeah.
Pretty much all weekend.
Yeah.
All week.
And, giving props to Japes again here. And
Yeah.
that's a line that's going to become almost a trope on the copy. On the copyright.
I know. That's another show.
That's a podcast that hasn't existed in over a year. And I'm referencing it. Oh, my God. But no, it's going to become a trope here on Haunt Weekly. Thanking Japes again here.
Yeah.
He has brought the discussion to others and brought us viewpoints on Facebook that are not our own and have sort of put things in a different light for us.
Right. And including Dusty.
Yeah, Dusty. I was trying to remember the last name.
Morton.
Morton. Thank you. I'm glad someone had it.
Yep.
And someone like research and responsibility. And
yeah. Very interesting perspective on that. And you do have your lines that you won't cross, and that's one that Dusty will not cross. Is
she will not do asylum, and that's
asylum,
and that's just
that's a personal choice.
I see that as a personal choice for her, and I think that is perfectly reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
If you, as a member of this industry, and by member I mean owner, actor, or aficionado. It's like we say, you're all members to us.
Right.
Whether you're just someone who goes through haunts, whether you're someone who owns or acts and runs them, helps run them, you have your personal boundaries. That's fine. Completely respect those.
Right.
And I totally respect that.
Yeah.
So that is not my issue at all. If Knott's Berry Farm had said, we're not going to do asylum stuff, we don't think that's right.
Right.
And then they didn't do it,
mm-hmm.
that'd be a non-issue.
Yeah.
But they didn't obviously see a problem with this.
Mm-hmm.
They got some attention for it, and they gave up. And I don't know. That to me says either they didn't think this attraction all the way through,
mm-hmm.
or they just, they weren't wanting to fully back it. They weren't prepared to fully back it. And like I said, that I support their decision because of their business. They were doing what's right for their business.
Right.
But the other question is this. We as an industry are going to be constantly offending people. Not deliberately.
Yeah.
But what happens when lumberjacks get offended to our representation of chainsaw people? What happens when clowns get offended?
Yeah, those are some extreme examples.
Well, they're extreme examples.
Well, okay, so here's a question around that. Is it possible just to have quote unquote crazy people in your haunted house, but not put them in an asylum or mental institution setting?
Well, I think a lot of haunts we go to do that.
Yeah, I think that's it.
The haunt we were at last night didn't do that. Did it pretty much something similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy people, but they were in a rural setting. That could be seen as being offensive to, quote unquote, hillbillies, so to speak. That type of people.
Yeah. No, I know.
So that's just it. It becomes differently offensive.
Right.
You're just shifting the buck. It's not a mental health issue, but now you're offending possibly another stereotype or another archetype. And, my issue is, like I said, it's not with Knott's Berry Farm's decision. They did what I think is the right thing. I'm worried about the long game on this.
Right.
Because we're going to offend people.
Yeah.
And we're going to offend people because, I do genuinely believe haunting is a form of art.
Yeah.
Art offends people at times.
Yes.
It happens.
Yeah. Art should make you think.
Art makes you think, and some people will be offended. And look, this is not, like I said, I'm not wanting to knock anyone in this because, like I said, the guy that really started this, like I said, he obviously had a very real personal tragedy related to mental health.
Right.
I understand his position completely.
Yes.
But, that being said, does that mean that the haunt should withdraw the attraction? Or,
yeah. Well, I think that if they had started it out calling it, FearVR or whatever.
Yeah, FearVR.
Without the code, I think it would have fared better.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think that putting that realism on it
turned
it into something that wasn't in the realm of Yes?
And I agree. No, I was agreeing with you. I'm just nodding in agreement. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not nodding trying to butt in.
Okay.
Sorry, our visual cues are getting off, audience.
Yeah.
We're a little tired, all right? Bear with us here.
Yeah.
We sound a little more stupid and drunk than usual. It's because we've been out working all day.
Yes, but not drinking.
Not drinking, no.
Not this
unfortunately. But yes. No, but I agree with that. That was kind of an unnecessary needle at the actual group of people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing, is haunting is going to offend people, but I don't think we should go out of our way to offend people. We shouldn't try to offend people.
Right. I think that took it one step too far.
I'll agree. That went from being trying to be as scary as possible to being directly attacky.
Right.
And mind you, I think it's kind of in a minor way. Because like I said, I don't know 5150 from 5149.
Yeah.
I don't know these numbers from Peter and Paul here. But still, it definitely was adding a targeting. And for Knott's, and I gotta say, I'll say this, for Knott's Berry Farm to say, and once again, it was never intended to portray mental illness.
Right.
When they included the number in the title.
Yeah.
It seems a little disingenuous.
Yeah.
That part of the apology comes across as wrong.
Right. I think that was the biggest mistake in this event.
Yeah, was the actual original name.
Yep.
And I'll agree with that. I mean, and that's just it. Like I said, we can't think of a single haunt we've been to in the last few years that hasn't in some ways incorporated mental illness into it.
Right. And, I mean, the thing is that the way that most haunts portray it, it's so over the top that you don't think that this is what people really think of the mentally ill.
No.
You know, and I think that that's a part of it, too. You know?
I mean, it's a caricature.
Yeah.
In a haunted attraction, usually. And I mean, look, this is going to be confession time for me, I admit it. But I'm a sufferer of mental illness.
Yeah.
Not super severe mental illness, not the capacity of what we're talking about here. But I was diagnosed at a young age with severe clinical depression. It's one of the things that helped drive me into the haunt industry, was because this was a place I felt like I belonged.
Right.
I've never, going through a haunt and seeing one of these asylum sequences or whatever, felt like it was an attack on me.
Right.
I never felt that way. I never felt attacked. I never felt victimized. Now, if someone else has a different experience, I'm not trying to belittle that.
Right.
I'm just saying that was not my experience.
Yeah. I will say that my brother also suffers.
Yes.
Various different things, and has been inside of hospitals at different points in his life. Mm-hmm. And his experience is not what you see inside of a haunted house.
No.
That's somebody... It just isn't a realistic representation.
But nothing in haunting is.
Exactly.
Usually. That's the whole point of haunting, is to provide an exaggerated experience for the purpose of fear.
Yeah.
If I walked into a perfectly normal hospital where nothing was wrong, I might be like, geez, why did I come here? Did I fall down? You know?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a horror experience.
Right.
It would be a fairly mundane one.
Yeah.
If I walk into a haunt and it's just a normal everyday house,
right.
You know, it doesn't mean anything to me. It's not scary to me. It's when, you know, the house is all torn up and there's wind blowing through the windows and all that stuff that you get the horror element.
Right. And I do know that Dusty mentioned the history of mental institutions and how terrible they were. And you're right in that we don't think of that when we're going through a scene that's based in that, because it doesn't seem like a realistic representation to us. Right. You might have a different experience. Right.
And I understand that the history of mental institutions is absolutely 100% terrible in this country.
It's horrible.
It is beyond terrible.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
If you don't know the story, you should definitely do a little bit of research.
Do a lot of bit of research. It's actually it's both interesting and horrifying in the same breath.
Yes, and not the good kind of horror.
Yeah, it's worth learning about.
Yeah.
So, yes, I agree with that. But do we go to haunts for history lessons?
Well...
I mean...
No, we...
Maybe that was not the way to word it, but...
We don't go to haunts for history lessons. But we can step into some interesting issues.
Yes.
In haunts. I mean, we ourselves do the women and haunting.
Yes.
Because I think some haunts need to catch up with the times.
Absolutely.
Right now, at 3, I mean, 3 of the haunts that we visited so far have this figurine, and it's just offensive.
Racially. This is a
it's a racially offensive prop. And I'm like, why? Why do you have this here? Why does it exist? It takes me out.
Where did you buy it?
I know, because I've tried to find it so that I could show it to people I know and say, what do you think this is?
What do you feel?
Yes,
Maybe we're the crazy ones.
Yes, is this just me that it throws me out of the experience completely? Because, and they're always in voodoo scenes.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be... If the haunt industry is going to go away from the exaggerated mental patient trope, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history.
I agree with that. I understand that. For me, it's like I think I said this pretty well earlier. I think the haunt industry cannot avoid offending people.
Right.
We are going to offend people.
Yeah.
Just because everything we do is about putting fear into people, and when you put fear into people, especially with archetypes, especially with caricatures, people are going to get offended.
Right.
Whether it's, rural people, whether it's poor people, whether, what people of a certain religion, because how many times have we seen pagan or satanic things in haunts?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to offend people. But I think the line is we shouldn't try to offend people. We shouldn't go out of our way to offend people.
Right. And I think it's also a crossing into realism territory. If you try to make things specific to realistic details, like little small details that only people in that would know about.
Yeah, and
words are failing me a little bit. I'm sorry.
Well, the 5150 is a good example of it, because that did make it more pointed at mental illness than it needed to be.
Right.
I think. And I understand. Like I said, I respect Dusty's opinions.
Oh yeah,
I totally
in fact, we're
saying.
going to be seeing if we can get
a
conversation.
Yeah, I'd love to have this and share part and extend this conversation some, but I get her opinion. That's a personal line she will not cross, and I respect that. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't be a line we don't cross as an industry.
Right.
And the question for me, and I think the question for everyone is, okay, we shut down this attraction. When do we stop shuttering attractions when people are offended? You know what I mean? I do. Because that's the thornier issue here, is we say, okay, that was an inappropriate thing to do. Why, when do we not do that? When do we say that it's okay for a certain amount of people to be offended? Right. And I don't have a clear answer to that one. Right. And one of the things that does bother me about Knott's Berry Farm is that none of the people who complained about the attraction actually went through it. Yeah. From my understanding, at least. Yeah, from my understanding, too. They just talked to people who did or read about what it was. And that is problematic to me. To me, it's like ordering a movie band when you haven't seen the film. Yeah. Granted, it's a little different because there was a limited number of seats and it was difficult to get into, etc., etc. But still, there's a little bit of that going on here, too. It's just, this is a really complicated issue. And I get why people were upset. And I do think, I'm like you, I think that if they had not included that in the name, even if the attraction, were truly offensive, it would have flown right under the radar. No one noticed. Right.
Well, and the other thing about it is that it was a complete standalone attraction within Not Scary Farm.
Yeah.
So you could choose not to go.
Yeah.
If that is your line, okay, I'm not going to that.
Well, and that is that thing that loops around to what I think is probably the real issue here. And we've been on this for a while now. I should move on for too much longer.
Yeah, we'll have a full episode. Yeah.
We'll have to do a full episode on this later. But I think a lot of this comes down to consent.
Yeah.
And one of the things that maybe we as an industry should look at is finding ways to let people know what content is in a haunt. No judgment. No saying that, this is,
Right.
Or I don't think we should do like MPAA ratings or stuff.
No.
I don't want to get into that game, but maybe a sign saying this attraction includes these themes.
Yeah.
That's not outrageous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do. That gets into the whole trigger warning debate that's going on right now too in the industry.
Yeah,
which will be another episode.
Episode, but this idea of consent and sort of the consent between haunter, actors, and audience.
Right.
I think there needs to be some more of that and some better communication of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like I said, this is a very, very deep, complicated issue. I don't have all the answers to it. I admit it.
Yeah.
And as someone who does suffer from mental illness, I know that I have a slanted perspective on this.
Right.
I understand that, but it's a very, very complicated issue, and my fear, like I said, is the long game on this.
Yeah.
We are an industry that rides that edge. We are a mass media industry, a mass market industry. We depend upon mass presences in our attractions. We need thousands of people to show up, but we have to ride that edge of also being offensive and possibly upsetting.
Right.
And that's always a pin to stand on. That's the 1,000 angels on a pinhead type thing. Mm-hmm. It's tough, and we're always going to be doing that. It's just, I think I'm hoping this sparks some really good conversations about maybe not necessarily where the lines should be drawn, because lines are going to be different for each customer, for each haunt, and each actor.
Right.
But maybe for about how to approach this issue of consent and how to not, go out of our way to offend people.
Yeah, I mean, it's already sparked some great discussions online.
Yeah. And honestly, people far smarter than us have been offering a lot of great comments on it.
Yeah.
So I defer a lot to that, but still, to me, I'm hopeful that this has some great repercussions down the road, and that in the long term, this really adds a lot of, gravitas and a lot of meaning to this, and that we're able to pull together and be stronger and better and more smart about this as an industry.
Right, and then we think about our choices a little bit better on the way we portray different situations. Different
groups and different situations and so on and so forth. I think that's the main goal. But at the same time, also think about, if haunting is an art. And I believe it is, as I've said. Yeah. How do we deal with the fact that our haunt is A, commercial in nature.
Right. And
B, going to occasionally offend people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the truth. I mean, so we have to think about how we're going to deal with that. And we as an industry were caught on our heels on this one. Mm-hmm. Maybe next time we can be in front of it.
Right.
How's that?
Sounds good.
All right, moving on?
Moving on.
Home Depot. While we're talking about complaints and stuff getting pulled, it's kind of funny that these two things happen in the same week, actually.
Right.
Home Depot pulls the Scary Peeper Creeper. That's the actual name of the prop from its source. Now, I know this is not really haunted attraction news, but it's so goddamn relevant, we could not include it.
Right.
Article we're pulling from today is by Aaron Smith at CNN. Long and short is they have a Peeping Tom prop.
They actually have two different styles.
Yeah, two different styles. And
at least at the local one, yeah.
Others I've heard have three. But basically the idea is you hang it on the outside of your window, and it looking in, and it looks like there's a voyeur or a skeleton or something. There's the two models we have is one's like a voyeur type thing. Yeah. And the other's like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I thought it was a witch actually, but...
well, I think there was a Grim Reaper model, but...
Yeah.
But anyways, they received numerous complaints in Canada, so they pulled it. And the reason I found this out was for the complaints in Canada was because there was a notorious serial killer in the 1980s who was also a voyeur, and that was kind of his thing.
No.
So, a serial killer in Canada? That's not a sentence you hear very often, is it?
No.
There's a reason Dexter's set in Miami. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But anyways, the prop is still available in the United States.
Right.
In fact, the reason we were reminded about it is we were at Home Depot earlier today.
And saw it.
So yes, it's still there. But here's the thing, and this is the deal of the company that makes it. Scary Peepers is the name of the company. They make other props, including a man in a ski mask that lurks around door frames and corners.
Yeah.
And a tapping version of the creeper just described that will tap on the glass when motion activated.
Right. So what if you wanted to put one of these on the inside looking out?
Yeah.
Like it was trying to get out. You know?
That was my first thing when I saw this. I'm like, well, that's stupid. I don't want to scare people inside my house. I want to scare the people that come to it.
Okay, so actually I did think about scaring somebody inside the house with one of those.
Oh, you meanie. What are you doing to Ellie? Oh, you terrible person.
I know, but I didn't mention it because I thought, well, no, I probably shouldn't do that.
No, you shouldn't. Good Lord, Crystal. I am ashamed to know you.
Hey.
Okay, that's not true at all.
I didn't buy it.
I know. But, okay, and the thing about this one is, once again, I do understand the concerns.
I could see buying it and putting it on the outside of my dad's window, actually, at his house. He would laugh. Anyway, sorry.
But the thing about it is this type of prop, if it's used on the wrong people...
Oh, yeah.
This goes back to the trigger warning type thing.
Right.
For some people, this is a completely harmless little startle joke. It's stupid and, frankly, kind of cheesy looking at it. But for someone who has actually had issues with this, this could be a PTSD issue. And, you know, and now we're getting to a completely separate issue of manufacturer responsibility here for something like this.
Right.
And I really don't have answers on that one.
No.
Because that's about 2 steps away from the gun control debate, and I don't want to go there.
Yeah, well, I do wonder why they were making these. Like, were they making them for people who just wanted to prank their friends? And
I don't know.
Because it doesn't make sense. Because
No.
you're not going to, like, go and put it on your neighbor's house.
And there's a whole company dedicated to this.
I know. But... You know, you're not just going to randomly put it on strangers' houses.
Is this like we have a Halloween party and you want to give your guest... I don't understand it at all.
You want to give your guest a scare like going across the street? Is that what you were going to say?
No, I'm not going to say. But the long and short of it is I really don't understand this from a haunter perspective. And I see a great deal of potential for misuse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't thought of a single legitimate use. That's good.
Fair enough. So, I don't know. I mean, should this be pulled? Once again, Home Depot is making the right decision for them and their company.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, family-friendly company, not in a position, nor should they be asked to go to bat for the haunted attraction industry here.
Right.
I think that is unreasonable. So, I mean, yeah, Home Depot, once again, I support their decision. But I am curious why the hell it's pulled from Canada but not the U.S.
Well, and why it was approved in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, because it just doesn't fit with the rest of their stuff. Now, they have upped their Halloween game in the past year.
Home Depot Halloween kicks butt this year.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you haven't been to Home Depot Halloween, you need to check that crap out, man. I bet the horses are gone. They're gone at ours.
Yeah.
But I know, I'm sad too, but we'll get a horsey. I'll get you a horsey, baby, I promise.
Oh my God, that was so wrong. How dare you? If I want a horse, I will just build it myself. Thank you very much.
But the point remains, the complaints on this one, I think, were more obvious than the FearVR thing even.
Yeah.
I think Home Depot should have had a little more wherewithal and anticipate the problems on that one.
Yeah.
It's extremely obvious where that could go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, I took one look at it, and I knew that has a lot of potential for misuse.
Oh, yeah.
Where if I just walked up to an attraction called FearVR, 5150, I'd have had no idea that could offend anyone.
Right.
Even just looking at the peeper, I saw the problem.
Oh, yeah.
So Home Depot, yeah. Anyways, it's still available in the U.S. if you want to see what the big deal is about. If you're in the U.S., go check it out. I don't really know. Go to Home Depot's Halloween section, look at the awesome stuff, and make note of it while you are there. How's that?
Yeah, we will say that they've got some of the best prices on the fire lights and stuff.
Yeah. If you're into like the projection lights and the fire lights and all that jazz, they've got good prices and also some decent skeleton prices too.
Yeah.
So if you need like those last minute skeletons, guys,
and you don't make your own
already. Well, you could. I mean, a lot of hunters buy the Bucky skeleton still.
Yep.
Anyways, more traditional haunt news. Let's talk about some other stuff.
All
Maybe
right.
something that's a little happier. We got about 15 minutes left.
Oh, wow. We've still got 3 things to get through.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 Nights at Freddy's is getting a haunted attraction experience. Article by William Usher at Cinema Blend. Long story short here. The Fright Dome in Las Vegas is opening a 5 Nights at Freddy's attraction this year. It's actually already opened. It opened September 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they teamed up with Scott Cawthorn, the creator of the game. And I don't know if I pronounced that right or not, and I should because I've actually spoken with his attorney.
Unrelated matter.
Not related to haunting in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
But yes, it is the first haunted attraction based on the video game, and it will actually be going apparently side by side with the upcoming Hollywood film.
Yeah. And I know a little girl who works in our haunted house who would love to go to this.
Please don't take her. She will never shut.
Well,
I love her to death.
Oh, yeah.
But man, she's like one of those pull toys, and you pull the string.
Yes, and she loves 5 Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, she loves that more than... If I ever love anything with half the passion, she loves 5 Nights at Freddy's. I'll live it a full life.
What do you do every week for an hour
on
this podcast? I'm just curious. That doesn't take a little bit of passion?
Yeah, but I can't. I also cannot rabbit on about the 5 characters in 5 Nights at Freddy's for 2 hours on end.
No.
From a pure ability to talk about passionately, she wins.
Yeah.
She got us beat, man.
Well, she's also got kid energy.
Yeah, that is extremely useful as I keep learning as I get older. All right. In Orlando, there is a new haunted attraction called Catharsis opening up. This is an article by Seth Kuberski at the Orlando Weekly. Basically, according to this article, they sent Seth creepy anonymous texts late at night.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a great way to get the police called on you.
It does.
Sending anonymous text to a reporter. But what I found very interesting about this attraction, and we've seen a couple other attractions do this, is in addition to their debatable marketing scheme, and I misspelled deplorable, I know, but they do not have a line.
Nope.
There are no lines at this attraction. Tickets are sold by the half an hour. You must arrive during the time. The attraction is only experienced with 1 to 4 guests.
Right.
And you can pay extra to enter it alone or with your particular group.
Right. Yeah, so when I read this and how they were marketing it, it reminded me of the Houses October Built movie.
Yeah.
That is the right name, right?
The Houses That October Built, yes. We're doing a whole podcast on that sooner or later.
Yeah, it's a horrible movie. I don't recommend it. But the way that they find the haunt in that is very similar to this.
Yeah.
It's at least reminiscent.
It is somewhat reminiscent. Speaking of things that are offensive to a subset of people, Houses That October Built, offensive to me as a haunter.
Yes.
Just throwing that one out.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's an interesting one that I'm actually very happy about because we looked these guys up last year and were unable to go. So this year, maybe we will.
Maybe.
Fear City Nights in Pensacola, Florida will open this year. They were slated to open last year.
Right.
They had everything decked out. They'd been working for 4 months on it or so, or for several months at least. And then they were told they could not open because of a last-minute sprinkler issue. Basically, the fire marshal changed the nature of the venue, which changed the requirements for sprinklers.
Right.
Which in turn, they did not have the capital and the time and everything needed right then to address, so they had to miss last year.
Yeah. But they are open this year.
Yes, they are open this year. That is the good news.
So we are looking forward to hopefully getting over there and seeing what they're all about. It's always fun to go to a first year haunt, you know?
Yeah, it's very interesting. And well, it's not exactly a first year haunt. These guys have actually been doing it in some format since 1993.
Well, yeah, so it's not really first year.
They've been doing it for 22 years, Crystal.
But it's the first year at this location,
yes.
and in a more permanent location, as I understand.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. So
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited if we get to go. We did our Lafayette run this weekend.
Right.
We're hoping to do a Mobile Pensacola run, go the other way down 10. Maybe not next weekend, but the weekend after, if time allows.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this. This is definitely on the hit list for us if we're able to go.
Yep.
But yeah, that's just a reminder, kids, address those fire code issues.
Yep.
Stay on top of those. And, okay, this next story, I admit, is an indulgence.
A little bit.
It's a total flipping indulgence. I acknowledge this. But look, we're excited about this. The Lafitte Fire Department here in Louisiana is reopening their haunted attraction this year.
Yay!
And, yeah, I am silly stoked about this. We'll be going next weekend, most likely.
Yep.
Then the article
That's what we've been telling all of our crew that we're
no.
trying to take.
Yeah, the article is by Laura L. Arcano
Yeah.
at NOLA.com.
Probably Arsenault.
Arsenault, yeah, that makes more sense. But yes, basically, Lafitte is a town south of Louisiana, south of New Orleans.
Yes, there is south
Yes,
of
there
New
is south of New Orleans. It's a small town, but their fire department's a volunteer fire department, and it puts on, or previously it had put on a haunted attraction every year to fund both the fire department, its fire safety seminars, and a scholarship for the local high school.
Right.
So
it's a really good charity event.
And basically, and the way they do it, it always blows my mind, because they build a tunnel out of whatever they have handy in between like 2 to 3 weeks usually.
Yeah, I think this time
They said it took a whole month.
Right.
A whole month to build the haunt. I know.
Yeah. Structure and all.
Structure and all. They built it. But yeah, they took last year off.
Yeah.
And we have no idea why.
Yeah, we'll talk to them and find out.
We'll talk to them and find out, I'm sure. But this year they're back with a full football field's worth of tunnel, doing more with the burn building and more with the little truck area, the actual inside area of the fire department.
Yeah.
So
they have added on a blackout maze at the beginning. And so I don't know how I feel about that, because the maze that they had inside the burn building was actually my least favorite part.
Yes.
You know, you can check out our maze episode previously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the crux of the maze episode, TLDR, we've never been to a maze inside a haunted attraction where we went, wow, the maze was really the best part.
Right. Well, and at least this time we know that it's coming.
Yeah.
You know, we're not just going to show up and surprise, there's a giant
Surprise,
maze.
find your way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this isn't, like I said, it's an indulgence. But these guys really, to me, represent all of the best things about haunting.
Yeah.
They're doing it for a really good cause. It is an extremely budget conscious but extremely creative haunt.
Yeah.
And it's completely awesome for families, and I just love it.
It's just a fun experience.
It is very, very fun. And it's because we go to a lot of haunts, and yes, they're beautiful. Yes, they're well acted. Yes, they're scary. But they're not fun sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't leave giggling all the time.
I'm not smiling when I leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that was very impressive. It's a very good experience, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not the giggling, laughing, joyous experience. This is like kid at Christmas morning stuff for me.
Right.
So I am silly stoked about this. I'm counting down the days. I've got a trip to Washington, D.C. coming up next week.
Right.
And so it's like, I'm even looking past that. It's like, I'm going to Lafitte on Saturday. D.C., forget it. Lafitte. That's the real joy.
Yeah.
Okay, and wrapping it up this week, a bit of sad news. The Panic Park haunt in Cedar Falls, Iowa is closed this year due to flooding.
Yeah.
Now, this is rough, especially for us here in southeast Louisiana, where our area, not us personally, but our region was recently impacted by some very severe flooding.
Right.
And an area that just in general knows how much flooding messes stuff up.
Yeah, basically.
We have a fair amount of practice of that.
Hearts go out to the people in Iowa.
Absolutely. And I have to be straight here and say I was not even aware there was flooding in Iowa until I read this.
I had heard about it.
Really? Okay. I had not. It had not reached me.
Yeah.
I stopped less time reading copyright news, more time reading like actual news in my future, I guess.
Well, yeah, it might help. Well, it might also help to be on a college campus and
That's
hear
true too.
the news.
Yes,
so.
true. But yeah, so the haunt is put on by the Black Hawk County Conservation Board, and they took 30 inches of water during the recent flooding.
Which is a lot of water.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about this in the review we just did for Rise. Rise took about 18 inches, they said?
Yeah.
In the recent flooding in southeast Louisiana. Mind you, they were not in the hardest hit area of the flooding.
Right.
There were other areas much harder hit. But 18 inches was still enough to put this very much a professional haunt, with the support of another professional haunt lending everything they could to them.
Right.
It put them several weeks behind.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks behind, just to get back to where they were.
Yeah.
That was just 18 inches, 30 inches. Every inch it goes up, it gets worse and worse and worse.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of the amount of damage you have to clear out. They'd spent the past 4 months working on the haunt, and they said that they're going to have to address structural and health concerns before even considering opening next season.
Yeah.
It's a bummer of a way to end it. I gotta admit, I should have put this somewhere else in the notes, but yeah, my heart's definitely my heart. I am the doctor.
Yeah,
I have two hearts.
Yeah.
No, my heart goes out to the people in Iowa, and to the people at Panic Park. This is got to be both heartbreaking and super frustrating because they said to work so hard and have it ripped from your hands at the last second by severe flooding. It's terrible. And now, so the personal
something out of your control.
It's the worst. So I pray and hope that you guys are able to open up next year and resume scaring the ever-loving bejesus out of everyone who walked through your door.
Yes.
And raising good money for your cause.
Well, yeah.
Well, that is the news this week. A lot of talk about VR.
Yes.
And a lot of talk about haunt openings is going on.
Right.
So, yes, 'tis what I would not have expected at the beginning of haunt season.
No.
Now, our next news episode is in 4 weeks, which puts it right at the tail end of haunt season.
Right. However, I think that if another big story breaks, we might do an interstitial somewhere. And
I do want to do something about the FearVR situation in a more full episode, because we have a lot. We literally, to give you an idea, we literally talked about it for almost 2 hours straight on the way to Lafayette.
Yeah.
We not even like listening to music and talking occasionally. This was just us going at it. Yeah. Not like fighting, but just like attacking the subject and trying to parse it and come up with answers. And then that's the problem with this. The more you talk, the more you unpack, the harder it gets.
Yeah. The more you realize there are no good answers.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yes, we definitely want to donate more time to that soon. But I think that's all for right now.
Yeah.
So on that note, everyone, we are Haunt Weekly. Please, please, please like and subscribe to us. You can find us on Facebook at Haunt Weekly, Twitter at Haunt Weekly. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and all the other places fine podcasts are sold. Please don't tell them we're not a finer podcast.
I was going to say, and the not-so-fine ones, too.
Apparently.
They let us in. Ha-ha!
But until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this was Haunt Weekly, episode 44, The News, number 11. We will see you guys next week.